Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show, and we are beginning our South Australian netball coverage with the Western Eyre Netball Association. Courtney Trowbridge is on the line with me to wrap up the last round before finals. How's it going, Courtney?
Good, thanks, Dan. How are you?
Going well, thank you. I can't believe we've already made it through an entire season, 15 rounds down, and finals kicking off tomorrow. So let's get into this last round of games before we get into finals. Still no upsets to speak of, but a tight game between the Hawks and Wirrulla. Bombers home game and very high scoring as well. Final score, Hawks 65, Wirrulla 58. So it looks like this one was a pretty good game to end the season.
Yeah, good game, and probably expected this one to be close. I actually thought Wirrulla might have got up and caused an upset, but both teams have been managing some injuries. I know Hawks are still without Alana, who's their main goal defence, and they still had Rochelle Wheaton out as well. Wirrulla were also managing some injuries, and I think had to make some changes as the game went on, as they try to keep fresh leading into finals. I know Hawks actually come out firing. They had a 21-11 lead at quarter time, and it really set them up for the whole game. The next three quarters were very close. Wirrulla actually won two of the quarters, and then the third quarter was a draw. So I think just they allowed Hawks that lead and were never able to fully recover from that. But yeah, very high scoring game. I think goalies for both teams played really well. For Hawks, Maddie Nicholson in at goal shooter, she had a great game, and Kobe Freeman running through the centre, and some standout performances from Emma Willis, Stacey and Eva Smucker for Wirrulla. And they also had Neve Tomney coming up from the B grade. She actually played in at goal shooter with Emma at goal attack, and I think that was quite a good combination. But yeah, strong, close game, probably not a true reflection of what we're to see in finals, given that both teams are still missing a couple. So yeah, that should be interesting match up again if they are to meet in the prelim.
And they do look likely to meet in the prelim, so I'm sure both coaches were taking plenty of notes there during that game. The Western United Tigers beat the Ceduna Blues in the other game at Penong 53-29, so that locks in the undefeated season for the Tigers, and the hard work starts now, I suppose, for them. They've got to stay undefeated right through to the grand final. Yeah,
pretty impressive season from them to run out undefeated season, but also to win majority of their matches pretty convincingly. Most of the time we're talking about 20-plus goal wins. So to be able to stay disciplined through four quarters of netball continuously, I think it does set them up really well for finals. And I can't really see anyone upsetting them in finals. They've got a good mixture of experience with people who have been there before and played a lot of finals, and then the younger ones coming up. Blues actually come out firing, and it's probably in what they knew was probably going to be their last game of the year. They actually had a 2-goal lead at quarter time, which is pretty impressive. I don't think many teams would have actually won a quarter off Westies, but that definitely kicked them into gear. Westies were able to turn it around. They had a 4-goal lead at half time, but then a massive 32-12 second half, able to run over the top. And we talk week in, week out about them just being that bit stronger and fitter compared to all the other teams, and it's really showing through the back half of the year. And they've really set themselves up well going into finals. Best for Westies were Jarvis Shippard and Lara Skinner, and best for Blues are Hayley Clayton and Taylor Collins, who played in defence together.
Just the 3 games for the Tigers decided by single digits this year. I've just had a quick look. There was a 3-goal margin, a 4-goal margin, and a 6-goal margin. So, yeah, they've been certainly dominant throughout the year, done very well to go undefeated, but the Hawks and maybe even the Bombers at their best, maybe potentially not too far off the mark. So we'll see what happens in finals. And the finals do kick off tomorrow. Quick look at the final ladder before we get into that. We've spoken about it all year. There was not really an upset throughout the whole duration of the year. Westies 12-0, Hawks 9-3, Wirrulla 6-6, and then Thevenard 2-10 and Ceduna 1-11. So I suppose that Ceduna win over Thevenard early in the year was the closest we got to a true upset, but even that was a bit of a coin toss matchup every time they played. So I suppose we're ripe to get an upset in September or late in August now.
Yeah, it definitely can happen. I think the matches across the next couple of weeks, we look at this week with Thevi and Wirrulla. They had 2 blowout score lines, and then the last time they met, it was, I think, 7 or 8. And then moving through, I know Hawks have pushed Westies through games, not necessarily final scores, but there has been times in the game where they have really pushed Westies. So, look, it can happen. I don't see anyone knocking off Westies, but, yeah, anything can happen in finals.
That's right. Anything can happen in finals, and we've seen it happen. We see it happen in country sports all the time, so we'll watch this space on that one. Like you said, Westies and the Hawks get the week off, so they'll have their qualifying final next week. But, Wirrulla and Thevenard tomorrow for the elimination final. So a big game at Streaky Bay, and, Wirrulla looking good for that one, but we just never know.
Yeah, I think it will depend. Obviously, the injuries that Wirrulla are managing, how they'll line up. They'll be looking to hopefully have their full team back. And they'll have Stacey Lee in at goal shooter with Emma Willis running out at goal attack, which she has been running there all year. And they will team up against Nikki Sleep and Hayley Jericho for Sevi. Sevi's got that really lethal defensive end. Have sort of been playing together sometimes. Nikki has swung down the other end to goals at times, but I think that's how they'll line up this weekend. Hayley Williams-Gates is actually away for Thevenard, so Thevenard won't have that option to swing Nikki down into goals, which is how they played last time they played Wirrulla and got within single digits to Wirrulla. Hayley Webb, she'll run through the centre. She just likes to control that centre, and she's very defensive, and she'll look to put a lot of pressure on that Sevi attack line. I think it will be hard work for the Sevi girls down there. I think anything can happen in this game. I'm not going to make a tip because I'm actually sitting on the bench for Sevi, so I'm definitely not going to tip against them this week. But, yeah, it would be really hard to beat Wirrulla down at Streaky.
All right. I usually don't allow fence sitting on the Flow Friday Sports Show, but staying unbiased is a pretty good time to sit on the fence. So I'll let you get away with that one. Before we wrap up, Courtney, there's been a pretty clear pecking order, a very clear pecking order in the A grade. Is that reflective through the other grades as well, or how's the competition been shaping up as we get into finals for the B grade and right down the ranks?
Yeah, I think there'll actually be some interesting contests across the finals in the B-C grade. Westies have been really dominant in the D grade. They're also undefeated there, and they're pretty dominant in both the Junior A and Junior B grades as well. And Hawks looking pretty dominant in the Junior C. But, yeah, I think most teams have had an upset at some point during the year, except I think the Westies D grade and Junior A, if I'm right. But, yeah, all looking like it could be an exciting finals fixture. I'll just run through the matches this Saturday at 10 a.m. In the Junior C, we have Kniba versus Western United. And also at 10 a.m. in the Junior A, we have Ceduna Blues Blue against Thevenard. At 11:30 in the Junior B, we have Thevenard versus Kniba. In the A grade at 1:15, we've obviously spoken about Wirrulla versus Thevenard, and then the C grade at the same time is Ceduna Blues versus Western United. And at 2:45, we have the B grade, Kniba versus West Coast Hawks, and in the D grade, it's Wirrulla taking on Ceduna Blues Blue.
All right, big weekend of netball all through the grades and the age groups in the Western Eyre Netball Association. Good luck to everyone taking the court, and good luck to you sitting on the bench as well, Courtney. Thank you very much for all that info. We'll catch up with you again next Friday.
Thanks, Dan.